hours. Um, Not much has changed since the Asia session that I did an update on a day ago or so. I'm still seeing prices forming this potential correctional structure and going down to the lower time frame. It's still correcting, so my plan is to either wait for a push out continue to the top, so hitting some sort of recent double top, and then see if we can have that bearish push down from this point forward. That's one option to seeing this. Another option is just seeing this will completely break off from here and then correction go this way. Either way, you're seeing any kind of potential head and shoulder. This is one way of seeing this. And then if you see price continue to push up one more time and reach into that double top, and you can see that same kind of head and shoulder pattern in the making as well, right? So either way, I'm looking for a reversal, looking for what the price will do either at the top of this area, or if I see that strong bearish push out, then I'll be looking for a potential sell. So that's why I see S&P 500 very similar like other indices in other US indices. So Dow Jones, very similar idea. We're at the top of the overall structure, and price is forming a potential correctional structure just like S&P, right? Originally I had the structure draw like this, and as structure evolves, right, you have to see what the structure is doing now. So doing the same kind of the ascending kind of formation just like S&P 500, and you're seeing price getting pushed up one more time. So to this top now. So same idea is kind of see what the price will do to react this area. And I want to see that push out from the lower time frame and continue down forwards. So they're all at this area now where it could be looking for that entry where I will be likely to looking for that entry down to the previous low. Okay, and if we zoom out here just a little bit, we were at the previous top, right? Was the all-time top from Dow Jones before the coronavirus crash, and we're at the top once again. So which is good. We have this double top on the high time frame. We have this lower time frame, kind of a correctional structure, very reversal, very corrective. So looking for the reversal from this point forward is ideal. Okay, it's going to give you better risk reward in my opinion to the downside to the previous low. Morning, hello, hello. Sorry, guys. Yeah, nice to see you guys. Good, good, good. Major pip in the house. Good. Hi, you guys. So let's continue to Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, similar, right? But S&P and down just looks a little bit better. Nasdaq, same idea, is same kind of this higher time frame structure. We had this kind of previous swing high, and we had this lower time frame push down. And again, we're seeing this same kind of ascending channel kind of corrective structure. So same idea, same plan, same forecast is see what price if it can continue to get squeezed up to the top, and then looking for the push down this point forward. That is the more ideal case, more safer trade. Or if you see just a strong bearish push off from this point forward and lower time frame correction to get in is also good. But like I said, for Nasdaq compared to S&P and Dow Jones, the other ones look a little bit better in terms of price action, and I would choose them over Nasdaq here. Okay, so that's the indices. Let's jump into the commodities really quick before I jump into currencies, because I know most of you guys are also looking at gold and things like that. So let's take a look really quick. So my thoughts on gold has not changed though. Still looking, this lower time frame still looks pretty clean to me. Lower time frame still looks relatively clean to me because we're still in this overall kind of a bearish impulse kind of correctional structure. Okay, we see this larger structure from a correction for this move here, and we see the similar move by a very sharp move down like this. And what I always talk about is when you see a sharp move like that down like this, you want to be looking for a continuation correction. So this is what I'm seeing here on gold. It just takes a little bit time to develop, but the longer and the more corrective this gets, the better it is for that. We know that there's a higher probability for this correction to work out as a continuation, and we can, potentially see this breakout from this point forward. So very patiently waiting, and I talk about this when I make this post, is that don't just jump into the trade, don't just randomly jump in because it breaks some trend line or something like that, right? We're talking about price action structure. There's a few chance that you might have drawn a line like this and you see price breakout, you might have entered here. That's not how we trade, guys. We look for price action structures and patterns. Even if it breaks, this level, what I always talk about is look for a lower time frame continuation correction to prove that this is the impulse out of this larger correction, and this is the larger impulse, and this is a larger correction, and we're going to get the next push out, right? That's just one more confirmation that you can do to eliminate potential losses. But the overall structure from this point forward looks really clean, right? We had gold broke the all-time top, and then no continuation to continue. Instead, we had first push down, first correction, and then remember this sell here, push down once more, and then larger correctional structure, push down once more, correctional structure, and just looking for the next push down. That's how the market structure works, guys. So very clean for me to be looking for the next downside this point forward. So let's go to silver. Let's go to silver really quick. Same idea here compared to gold. Gold looks a little bit better, but silver looks just much much simpler in my opinion, because this is just one big impulse. This is just one big correction, right? So when I make this post, I think it was a couple of days ago, I talk about just there's two options to kind of look at silver really quick, and it's either you're going to see that this is that first impulse from the lower time frame, and this is a correctional structure. We're going to get push out from this point forward, or price may continue just get squeezed up continuously to the top, and then they'll have a reason double top of this overall corrective structure, and looking for the impulse down from that point forward. So those are the two options that I'm still looking at and still look really clean to execute if they develop, but they're not ready just now. All right. So Kiwi dollar, I'll do it after. Okay, I'll finish all the commodities and I'll jump to the currencies after. Okay. So oil, I still like oil quite a bit for potential sell. Looking at the overall higher time frame structure, I mentioned that when I see this kind of ascending kind of corrective structure, when I see that kind of first impulse down, very good chance that we can be getting some sort of reversal continue downwards. And when price start building this expansion kind of structure, this is also key that this expansion structure is likely to just be correcting for this move. And once this correctional structure is finished, we're going to get the next push down. And that's kind of what I'm looking for still in this upcoming days, weeks or so. So far, price is still very corrective. Originally, I saw this as a push down and looking for a continuation correction to continue lower. But instead, we just see a little bit more corrective price structure. That's fine. And as I say, forecasting, right? My plan is to see price continue push up to the top here, and then another reason double top. And then if there's bearish reversal in price action, then I'll be looking to jump back into oil, or jump into oil. Sorry, haven't taken a trade on oil yet, but still look really clean for this potential downside. There's lots of risk reward here, just even to the lows here. I think there's quite a bit risk reward, at least 5 or 6 to 1. So that's what I see on oil. So looking again, commodity wise, gold, silver, oil, still looking a little bit more development is needed for that continuation. So let's look at currency now. Let's look at dollar index. So yeah, let's look at dollar index now. I'm still looking at this as a potential long on all the dollars. It may not be ready today, or it may not be ready, but still looking clean for me in terms of price action. So what I'm seeing here on the dollar is that, remember when price was in this area, I mentioned this could be the correctional structure to push up. There's a several trade, I remember if I posed correctly. So there's a several trade here that was looking for the upside. And after the upside happens, and we're just in the period of consolidation, okay, and that's key here is that the more this corrects, the more I think that this is going to be the impulsive move, and we can potentially get the next impulsive move. Okay, so the correctional structure, like I always talk about, it takes time to finish, it takes time to build. It's not 100% corrective finish yet, right? So this is what we have to go down to the lower time frame to look for possible kind of more clues from the price. And I still like the overall price action, even though we're still in this corrective kind of structure here. This is pretty corrective on the lower time frame. I thought in the beginning when we had this push up from the bottom, we're going the previous low, we push up, and then there was going to just be a simple correction, and we're potentially resuming the bullish trend. But instead, we're just kind of getting this corrective structure all the way down, which is fine because my plan is to again see what the price will do at this previous low now. Okay, price usually like to react to a previous swing low area and see what the price will do. Is it going to just break through that point forward and then continue lower? Then this can be one way of me changing kind of what my bias will be. But until then, if we still see price very correctively move down and then still seeing the bullish opportunity on the lower time frame, I still have a strong belief for that long. Okay. So for now, just waiting for a little bit more development, just like similar, like a couple dollar pairs I'm gonna go over here. Was looking for them, or actually was in some of these, mostly getting into break even or tiny loss, but just a good understanding from the market that they need a little bit more development, okay, for that confirmation sell. So let's look at Aussie dollar here. So Aussie dollar, not the Kiwi dollar is going to be my favorite, but I'll talk about Aussie dollar quickly because there was a few sell opportunity and I was choosing Kiwi dollar over Aussie dollar. But anyways, there was a sell here in my opinion that we had this ascending channel and then we had this kind of a reversal correction. We had this push down and there was a mini correction here. So this is where normally I would have entered anyways, but I was in Kiwi dollar. So leave Aussie dollar out. But looking at this because we had this price push up on the lower time frame just last few hours or so, right? And looking like it can be a bullish push up. So I'm not going to jump into the trade now, but what I want to see here is again looking to see what the price will do. I like these M cell pattern that we're potentially making. I like that it's very corrective and just to see what the price will do this area. Even if it breaks above, that's fine, right? We can just be more like an ascending structure. We break the top and then price reverse from the top and then going down this floor. This will be still my entry here for this because if we zoom out here on the high time frame, this is still a larger ascending channel. We still had this impulse correction impulse, and this is just a larger expanding structure to correct this move, and we can still see that downside in the upcoming days or so. Okay, so that's Aussie dollar. Let's go to Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar still my favorite. I was in this one. I did still take a loss here, but very clean still for looking for more downside. I just don't see why. I don't see why we need to let this one go. There was a few possible entries. My personal one that I got in just turned out to be pushed off of this. But understanding from the market structure is that this is still developing. This correction is not finished, and we just break the previous high. This is all good news. And how much longer can we stay in this corrective structure before some sort of impulsive raise to come in? Very likely, in my opinion, that we're just going to get squeezed to all the way to the top, breaking the previous top, and then letting some buyers jump into the market, and then we're going to see a sharp move down, and then correctional structure to push moves forward. Okay, and head and shoulder pattern here potentially as well. So looking very clean for me to be looking for another sell in this area because you have to understand the risk reward here is good. You have to look for trade that's going to give you maximum risk reward, and this is what I see on Kiwi dollar. We're in this overall higher time frame structure, and it's very corrective in nature, and we're at the top of the overall structure. We have all these kind of reversal price action at the very top. This move is very likely to happen, whether or not it's ready today or tomorrow, but I do very like this kind of sell for that probable down here. And if we zoom out on the higher time frame, looks very clean for me. This is just a ascending channel that we see over and over again in the price action, right? This is before the COVID drop, okay? So not obviously expecting the same kind of COVID movement, but I do expect the next impulsive phrase to come in the market. So that's Kiwi dollar, one of my favorite ones, like I said. So I'll set an alarm here just as a way to remind myself. So let's move on to Euro dollar. So Euro dollar, not as clear. Not as better than the couple of the dollar pair I just went over. I do like the overall structure here though, because if we just zoom out here, if we had this overall corrective structure, we had this first push down, and then larger structure in the making, right? This is just pretty much inverse of dollar index, right? So we're at this area where it could just be at that previous double top once more. So price can get squeezed up one more time, heading some sort of double top, and then we'd be potentially pushing down from this point forward. Or, like I said, on same thing as Aussie dollar, you want to wait for the breakout and then continuation down as well. Okay, so they're all at this area now where it could be very, um, the entry could happen in the next 24 48 hours, right? So just want to make sure you set your alerts or whatnot. Okay, so let's look at another one. Let's keep going here. Pound dollar was one of the ones you guys asked for. Um, Remember we were in the sell from this area from this point, and then just got off for 1 to 1. I remember, and then price just kind of form a deeper corrective structure, which is fine because once again we're at this top now, right? Amp style pattern I talk about. Can price react to this top here? Are we going to see lower time frame kind of reversal? I do want to see that for that sell. I do want to capture this sell down to even just the previous low or the lows of this bottom structure. Still very good risk reward from this point forward. And still nothing yet, right? That's why I want to be a little bit more patient, just waiting to see what the price will do in this last bit of area here. But ultimately, looking for that sell, right? Looking for the breakout, looking for a continuation correction this point forward. That's pound dollar. Dollar cat. So dollar CAD, we zoom out here. I do like that we broke the previous low, right? And then there was no continuation push down. Instead, we had a reversal push up, which is a very good sign, and potentially followed by a continuation structure here on the lower time frame. So I do like everything I see. Okay, I do like this potential push up just to the previous top as well. Do you think there's a decent risk reward in here as well? And if we look at the higher time frame here, um, price is once again at the bottom, right? We had this impulse down and looking for this correction to complete. It's still not too clear that this correction can be a reversal correction or to be a continuation. Okay, so still looking for this push up on the short term is very probable because this structure is not yet finished. Once we see the price push to the upside, then this pattern potentially can finish and will be a little bit more clear on how this larger correction can be. Can it continue push up moving forward? Then this is going to be a reversal, or is it going to be continuation for this move down and then corrective and then push down once more? But meanwhile, lower time frame wise, this potential buy could be happening. So we'll keep an eye on this one. So that's all the dollar pairs I'm looking at, guys. That's all the dollar one I'm looking at for at least the next 24, 48 hours. Nothing else has caught my attention. I know dollar Swiss, maybe some of you guys were looking. I talk about how we have this impulse and then reverse impulse and then potentially continuation. So I do like this, but it's a little bit corrective, and I probably would, in my opinion, I would choose euro dollar over dollar Swiss because euro dollar is, potentially reaching a double top area, whereas dollar Swiss is not. That's why I would, and they're very heavily correlated anyway. So I would choose either one anyways. Okay, and no other dollar pairs that's really on my watch list. All right. So let's jump into a few Aussie and Kiwi pairs. Okay, those are looking pretty interesting. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the chat and I'll answer, but I'm gonna continue. So Aussie CAD. So I'm looking at Aussie CAD here, looking at this as a potential double top, and then price is in this kind of rising wedge kind of structure, reversal price action. And if we go to the lower time frame, I do like how potentially this is a head and shoulder pattern in the making. Originally, I thought this is all the correction that's going to correct this lower time frame move, and we can potentially push down. But I realized that the structure is continuing to evolve, then that's fine. Let the structure continue to build up. This is still a corrective structure for this move, and looking to finish this move, looking to have the correction finish, and looking for the downside from this point forward. I do like the overall corrective structure that we see here on the higher time frame. Price is just getting squeezed in this area, and then we're potentially looking for the downside, even just to the previous low. Do you see there's a quite a bit risk reward even just down to the low here? And if we just zoom out here, I talk about this W style pattern a lot. Same thing as the M style pattern I talk about. Usually I like it because it's a very good reversal, right? You have this W, right? So what happens is you're gonna have a double bottom first, and then a double top for the potential sell, right? And you see this on M style pattern as well. If I just inverse this really quickly, and I talk about M style pattern too, right? M style pattern is you want to start having with the double top this area and then push down this point forward. Okay, you'll see this kind of structures a lot throughout all the pairs. Okay, and you just have to understand what the structure is telling you, and you're pairing with yourself with other analysis and things like that, and that's going to give you a much more confluence entry. So Aussie Swiss, let's look at Aussie Swiss really quick. Was in this Aussie Swiss trade as well, and just got off for a tiny loss, I remember. And because I was looking at this again, M style pattern, where at the top we had this kind of ascending channel structure and then a reversal structure here on the lower time frame. And that's kind of how I went to it. And there was a continuation sell here as well. But price is just not pushing down there. And instead we're just seeing lower time frame kind of bullish activity here. So what is my plan behind this? What is how I'm going to manage it? Well, I'm still not discounting the fact that this can be a sell. It's just that we can see what price will do if it can continue push up from this point. See if it's going to just be another corrective push up and then looking for the push down from this point forward, or is it just going to flat out break above the structure, break above this higher time frame structure, and then continue forward. I have to see this continuation structure in order to give me change of bias, so to speak. But for now, I'm still not seeing that because I'm seeing prices just very stalling in this area, right? So moving on to Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen, again, very similar like Aussie Dollar. Um, you had this kind of ascending channel, first push down, and then larger kind of expanding structure that's in the making. Very good, clear that it's going to correct this move, and we're just getting a corrective structure, looking for the next push down. It's a little bit stalling here, in my opinion. I was looking for more of an impulsive phrase to come in. We had this kind of ascending channel push out, and then there's this first push down from the price, and then corrective structure, and then another push down, right? So that was looking pretty clean to me. I was looking at this, I was looking at even a possibility of an entry here after I took an entry on Kiwi Yen. I was even thinking about taking an entry here, but just chose to decide not to. I didn't want to be risking too many on the same pairs. So instead, price is kind of stalling in this area now. So, but it's a little bit corrective. So let it correct itself here. I want to see a corrective structure here, and then we can potentially push down more from this point forward. So that's Aussie Yen. That's pretty much all the Aussie pairs. I'm gonna go over all the Kiwi pairs later as well. They're pretty much identical. They're the Aussie and Kiwi. I'm just kind of looking for them to lose strength, and then the strength will gain to the yens and the dollars. So let's look at pound yen. So pound yen still on my watch. This still looks really clean for continuation downside. Made a video on forecasting, by the way, guys. If you guys are interested, that's a really key lesson for you guys to understand why I talk about forecasting, why I keep drawing the lines and stuff. So I'm preparing my mind for any market condition, so you're not panicking or not making emotional decisions. Okay. Any Aussie Kiwi? No, but I can go over. Aussie Kiwi really wasn't on my watch list because I'm not seeing too much here. I'm not sure. Are you seeing a long or short? But personally, I'm not seeing too much. I was looking for a long when this price pushed up, and I was looking for a continuation, but instead that didn't develop or that didn't happen the way how I want to see it. And we're right back at this low again. So I think some of you guys may be seeing this as a long potential reason double bottom, and price has been kind of just in this overall kind of a descending kind of structure as well, right? So we're right back at this low again. Can this continue to push up? Right? Maybe that's kind of how you see this. Is probably the only way I'm seeing this. I'm not seeing the sell yet. I'm not seeing price break below this level yet. So I'm still seeing, is it going to be a reversal from this point forward for the price? Okay, so impulse correction, impulse, larger correction, and looking for the next impulse. That's kind of how I see Aussie Kiwi at the moment. Okay, so pound yen. Pound yen still on my watch list. Like I said, I'm still looking for the sell, still looking for a potential push down from this, right? We know that larger structure, impulse correction, impulse, very clean. And we're looking at the latest price action, impulse correction, impulse, right? And then if you even just zoom into the lower time frame, same idea here. This is the impulse, this is potentially a correction, looking for the next push up. So as multi-time frame analysis, when you go for a top-down approach, everything will be just simpler for you, right? Simpler, easier to understand. And just waiting for this correction is very key for us. It's just being in a waiting game, really. It's what is this structure going to do? And it's going to help you to determine that is this going to be a continuation or is this going to be some sort of a reversal to push the price up, right? That's why you don't want to jump into trades while it's in the consolidation phase. You want to wait until this corrective structure to fully develop or fully finish, and it will give you a much more clue of where the price may like to go. So, but as for now, this still to me is a positive phrase. This is just a corrective phrase. So what the price will do, well, my idea is, can this get pushed up to the top here? If it can and then forms reversal from this point, then potentially this is a complete structure and we can potentially look for the next downside. That's pound yen. I still like that. So let's talk about Kiwi Yen. Kiwi Yen still my favorite yen. Okay, I did take an entry here, I remember, and did just take out for break even or tiny win. But still looking for downside because structurally nothing changes from Kiwi Yen. I talk about this every time when the price is at the top, right? I'm just looking for the sell because that's how structure works. And when we're looking, the longer the structure builds up, the likelihood of this move down to happen, okay, to the previous low once again, right? Because we know that this is just one large corrective structure. There's going to be swing highs and swing lows and swing highs and swing lows. That's how price is moving in this corrective structure. But once this corrective structure is finished on a higher time frame, you're just going to get the next impulsive phrase on the higher time frame. It's still not quite clear of what the structure is likely to do. What it's likely to do is to make a first move down here and then to determine if this is going to be the push up from this, or are we just going to get a reversal push down from this point forward. Okay, but as this current price action, as where we are right now, I do see the bearish move still very likely to happen. Just want to see a little bit more development. I was in this because I see this as a clear head and shoulder pattern. We had this right shoulder develop, and then we have another head and shoulder in within this channel. So that was a clear sell for me. And then just tag out for a little bit of break even, I remember. Now, just seeing what the structure is doing here. Is this another corrective structure? Very likely to be. This can be just one impulse, and this can just be another corrective structure to push the price forward. And still a little bit more development, guys. And that's why the structures, it continues to evolve, continue to move, right? And we'll have to adapt to what we see. Okay, so that's Kiwi Yen. Hey everyone, how do you know when it's finished? You're not 100% sure any correction is finished, but you're likely to understand how structure move is. Usually structure is going to have a few swing highs and swing lows, at least two swing highs, two swing lows to identify as a structure, right? So you know that this is an impulse, this is a corrective structure, and you're likely to get another impulse when you have a structure potentially to finish, okay? The same idea as this, right? This is an impulsive move. This is a larger structure. We have a few swing highs and few swing lows. And after the correction is over, you're likely to get the next push up. So let's look at Euro Aussie. So Euro Aussie, again, took a break even here. Still not pushing up the way how I want to see. Okay, there's this push up from there, and then we get the push down. And then we had this another push up. And on the lower time frame, this was looking pretty clean to me when I was looking at this. This was just a longer kind of a descending channel pushing the price down to a double bottom. And we had this first push up, first correctional structure, and then we push up once again. And I thought this could be the continuation moving upwards. But instead, this is what we're seeing. Now we're seeing a potential head and shoulder pattern on the lower time frame, and can the price get pushed down once more? Even if it gets pushed down once more to this bottom area, I want to see what the price is likely to do, because it's stalling here. You can tell that originally I thought this could be a descending or falling wedge to push the price up continuous, but instead we're just getting a little bit more stalling here. So I want to be a little bit more careful. I want to be a little bit more observative in this area. What the price is going to do? Can it form some sort of channel like this, just a little bit more corrective structure to push up, or is this just overall going to build some sort of continuation structure for this move, and we can resume what our analysis were on the higher time frame, that this is likely to just be the impulse and we're just getting a corrective structure here, and this is going to be the move that's breaking out. Okay, so keeping an eye on this, just be a little bit more observative and wait for a little bit more development would be more ideal. Euro pound, remember Euro pound still looking for, I was looking for the buy, right? And I think most of you guys are looking for a buy, or some of you guys got in the buy from the bottom. Okay, so that's good, but you can see prices not pushing up the way how we expect it to be, right? And that happens sometimes, right? You see this sharp push up, you see this corrective structure, and normally you want to look for the next push up from this point forward, right? Just how price action always works in this sense. But if it doesn't, you have to, that's why I talk about forecasting, right? You have to have your plan. So what's my plan? Well, if this doesn't push up from this point forward, what is it going to do? It's going to start dropping back down to the bottom again. Is it going to form double bottom? Is it going to form reversal price action to continue push up? That's all waiting to see a little bit more development, right? As long as price is still in this larger, higher time frame structure, my bias is still looking for a potential breakout from this point forward, because we know for higher time frame, this is a larger structure, is not yet complete, because this is a sharp impulse, and this is just a larger continuation structure, waiting for the next push out. Right? This is very clear to me on the higher time frame perspective. That higher time frame is clearly in this larger structure. We had this impulse up, and then we had this reverse impulse down, corrective structure, and then looking for continuation. Right? But this is not going to happen in days, right? It's going to happen in months, right? When we're looking at the higher time frame. So lower time frame wise, still very favored for this push up to the top, and then potentially looking for the sell from the top. Okay. What's your take on pound kiwi? I will go over it at the end. Okay, you see I'm very close to the end now, so I will go over pound kiwi. Bigger version of head and shoulder, yeah. So let's look at Euro Kiwi. I think some of you guys are looking at Euro Kiwi, myself included. So Euro Kiwi originally, if you guys recall, I was looking for an inverse head and shoulder, right? It was looking very clean, and I talk about many times, at least for Euro or Kiwi pairs, at least we see these head and shoulder patterns a lot, right? And they usually play out, right? Usually, right? Head and shoulder pattern, right? Head and shoulder pattern here. So just because it doesn't play out this time doesn't mean anything, right? It just means that price action probability wise this time it didn't play out the way we're expecting to, but no problem, because my plan is still the same, just like Euro Aussie. Is this going to trickle down once more to the bottom? Let it trickle down to a double bottom, right? Let it trickle down to a bottom. Look for a reversal kind of structure, reversal price action to form, and then looking for continuation, right? That's how my plan is from even before I even consider Euro Aussie, which was the trade I was in. Same thing, kind of a forecast, same thing as planned for Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi. You just have to have a plan, and you can't just see something happen and then react to it based on emotion, right? It's not going to work out for you in trading in the long run. You need to have a plan. You need to have a forecast. You need to have a decision already made. If price does this, then does that, so you know when it happens, you're more prepared for it emotionally, and you're going to execute trades without any doubts, right? Any fear. I find beginner traders often had an issue of entering trades or not entering trades, right? Because that is what happened a lot when they're not sure about how to enter, or their fear of losing money or fear of losing out, right? Um, Do you enter when price is in the corrective structure, or do you wait for the breakout and then enter after another corrective structure has formed? That's a good question. I have a video that talk about all my entries. So if you go on my YouTube, you'll find all my three typical entries that I do. There's a video on that I explain. So the answer to that is all the above, because that's three different entries I can utilize. That's while in the structure, when breakout the structure, or a correction after a breakout. Okay. So let's go on to Kiwi Cat. So Kiwi Cat, another pair that I'm looking at that is looking for the sell. I still like the overall structure here that we're potentially looking at a double top here, and higher time frame wise, we're getting this W style pattern, and just looking to see what the price will do on the lower time frame. Here is that this is potentially a rising wedge. We're at the double top here, and can we get a reversal from this point? Like I said, trend lines doesn't matter, right? The trend line is just how we frame the structures, but it ultimately is what the structure is telling us. This can just break up here and then come down right back into this and right back into this larger structure, and I will still be looking for a potential sell. Okay, so still not yet ready, still looking for what I see in this piece here that will give us a little bit more clue here. Okay, so let's go to Kiwi Swiss, because Kiwi Swiss is also on my watch, and like I said, many Aussie and Kiwi pair looking for the bearish move from my point. So Euro Kiwi just went over that actually, but like I said, it's looking to see what the price will do if it continue fall down to a double bottom area, and then if it's going to get there very structurally in a corrective structure, then I'll be looking for the buy still. I'm still looking for the buy as long as we're still in this area. Same thing with Euro Aussie here, still looking for a possible buy here to push the price up. Okay, but I'm going to talk about Kiwi Swiss is just very much invert of Euro Kiwi, right? So same idea here. Okay, so I'll talk about Kiwi Swiss. So same idea as Euro Kiwi, double top here potentially, and we go down to a lower time frame. We had this push down from this point forward, and I was looking at this as a potential ascending channel to push down, but we push down and then continue going up, then we know that the structure isn't finished, right? I talk about this in many of my videos. Structurally, it can continue to evolve and continue to grow. That's why we're not 100% sure when the correction is over, but we'll have a very clean understanding as the price develop more. As this structure continue to go on to reach a double top, as it gets more corrective, as we see that push down from the ascending channel from the structure, then you know that this correction is potentially finished, and we can potentially see the next push down. Okay, so that's why patient pace for trading is that, at least for the way how we see the market, is because we're not for sure how long and how deep the structure will go. Patient plays off is sure. Sometimes you can enter a trade here, and then you just start dropping, and you're going to make a profit. But more often than not, price just forms a deeper structure, and then you're just going to get take out, right? And that's why waiting for something to complete, waiting for something to finish, just going to give you a better probability chance to capitalize on a trade. Because you look at this, you just see it very clearly that this downside is likely to happen now. Okay, that's very likely because we're just corrective in this area, right? We want to see the price form this M style pattern for this reversal. We're stalling in this area. Yes, higher time frame, we had this push up. Looks like it's going to continue, but you have to do what multi-time frame analysis, what the lower time frame is telling you, everything you want to add the confluences up to gives you a better bias of what the direction might to go. Hi guys. So let's continue a few other pound pairs that you guys are looking at. They're really not on my watch list, and I'll explain why, or my reason at least. But they're not my favorite ones, so to speak. So let's look at pound Aussie. I think pound Aussie was one of them that you guys mentioned. I'm just not seeing too much. I do see this potentially forming something here, okay, forming some sort of corrective structure, because we're in this larger overall structure. We had this M style pattern, and we had this push down from this, and then potentially this is a continuation correction in the making that we can potentially push the price down. But that kind of goes against all kind of the Kiwi and Aussie kind of losing strength that I have. potentially because pound can be also losing strength, and if you're looking for continuation down or whatever, that could happen, right? But personally, I'm not seeing this too much. I personally wouldn't prefer pound Aussie compared to other Aussie pairs. Okay, but all I'm seeing right now is potentially is a structure in the making here that this can happen. Okay, and this can be a head and shoulder pattern. That's what I see here so far. Let's move on. Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss is one of the things that you guys asked me to take a look as well. Um, if you guys recall, I was looking for a buy out of this correction here. I made a post here. I was looking for a buy here. I didn't get in this or anything, but that was my buy, kind of the target area, right? Because we're at the top here once again, and what the lower time frame telling you is that we had this push up, and then we had this reversal impulse, and potentially this is that structure that we always talk about. This can be a rising wedge or ascending channel formation, and can it correct all the way itself to the top, and then before the drop? That's one possibility, or again, just going to simply break off from this point forward and continue downwards. Those are the two options I see now. I'm not looking for the buy anymore. I am looking for potential sell if it develops. Okay. But personally, I would prefer other Swiss pairs. Okay, other Swiss pairs that is tagged with Aussie or Kiwi. They look a little bit better and look a little bit better in terms of risk reward as well. Last one is pound Kiwi. So pound Kiwi, I remember I talked about this in the Asia session. It's the same idea, is that I'm not seeing too much of this. What I'm seeing here is a potential double bottom here. That's all I'm seeing here. And if we just zoom out here on a higher time frame and talk about how this piece of the structure is not too clear to me, even though higher time frame wise, this likely means there should continuation out. May not be ready for now, may not be ready later, but structurally on a higher time frame, looks like it's supposed to be going down. However, on the lower time frame, I'm not seeing too much. I'm seeing more of the reversal, right? Price is stalling in this area. This was the previous low area. We're not getting much in terms of price action or structure. This looks like you can just form a correction here, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be continuation. It could just be a reversal correction, and we can start pushing the price up. Okay, so that's why these are not really on my to-go watch list. They're not too clean compared to the couple other ones that I just went over. All right, so that's pound Kiwi. Any question, guys, on any of these currency pairs that we'll just take a look? It went over quite a bit. I think last few ones I want to go over is the cryptos, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's talk about crypto really quick. I personally didn't get into any of the crypto, I'll be honest, but looking at what I'm looking at now, I mentioned this in the Asian market update, is that because we push up so high already, I just don't naturally. I always tell people, don't jump into trades when it already bullish push up. Yes, sometimes you might jump in here or jump in here, you get money, right? But more often than not, it's just going to form a deeper correction, and you're just going to get tagged out because you're trying to, jump in at the very top. And once the corrective structure happens, you're just going to get tagged out while it's in this consolidation. And then once all these consolidation is finished, you're just going to get the next up move, right? And that's why personally, I'm just not going to be jumping into these after it already moved too much, right? So that's my personal opinion on it. Not seeing too much even entry at this point forward. You can see that there's a few. If you just look closely, you see how there's like a few big swings of this move, right? Because it's likely to just capture a lot of inexperienced traders in here, and price is just forming a larger correction structure. and people are just going to get trapped in here. They're either going to hold their position too long, or they're going to be just tagged out because they have a tight stop loss or whatever. And once all that's done, price is still going to go. All right. Ethereum, not too much here. The buy was originally in this area when I talked about this a couple weeks ago. So no longer interested in this one. Link though, Link is okay because I talk about this over and over again. That this at least this one likes to move in this kind of fashion, and every structure we see here is followed by a potential push up, right? We see this push up from all the market here, all the time frame here, sorry, and looking like it can continue push up this point forward, but it's not going to be very straight line like this. It's likely to be moving in more of a corrective structure like this, right? Okay. Last one, OMG USD. Looking this one, I remember I was looking at to buy actually. So, looking zooming in here a little bit more. I like that this structure was overall finished. We had this price pop to the upside and then followed by a continuation correction, and still look good to just even to the top here. I do like this buy to the previous top and see what the price will do once it reached the previous top. But for as far as for entry wise, I want to see just the breakout from this correctional structure and followed by correction. Okay, that's one of my entry I talk about. So this will be the more safer side to get in. Okay. So that is it, guys. Any questions on these ones? Any of the crypto I just went over? As you guys know, I don't day trade crypto. I more as a swing trade. So that's why it's not too many on my watch list. Mainly focus on the commodities and currencies. Yeah, no problem. Those of you guys who are new, like I said, or maybe I didn't mention, but join my Telegram for all the updates and contents. I do everything free, so join my Telegram for the live streams, the analysis, the educational videos, and more things I post there. Okay. So anything else? Well, like I said, I'm looking at Kiwi Dollar. I look at Kiwi Dollar to develop a little bit more here. Want to see this kind of rising wedge to complete and looking for a potential sell. A couple other Kiwi pairs looks good. Kiwi Swiss is good, and Kiwi Cat is also good, looking for the breakout. And then a couple Aussie pair is also looking good as well. Okay. So any other question, guys? Hey, no problem. Thank you, guys. Any other questions for anything before I end? Oh yeah, someone asked me about Boeing. Yes, I totally forgot this one. So because most of these airline stocks are going to be better now, right? I'm sure you guys look at apparently there is a vaccine that is going to come out or very good accuracy, whatever. I don't really pay attention to the news too much, but my point is, a lot of these ones will gain back the momentum because more people are going to be flying again, right? It's pretty crucial. So, in my opinion, this is just to show you guys that when price push up out of the structure here, and because we're in this overall still downward trend, once we reach this previous high, I want to be a little bit more careful, which is exactly what their price is doing now. I want to see more continuation. That's going to give me more confluence for that. This is going to be the reversal from this COVID drop, right? But before it break the previous highs, I want to be a little bit more careful. And this is also why, if I was to enter this trade, I'm just looking to the previous top as a potential target. Okay, that's what I see on Boeing. One of you guys asked me about that. Uh, Tesla, right? Yeah. I talk about Tesla, right? When you just zoom out, you when you see a larger structure, you just naturally knows after this strong bullish push, naturally market needs to correct itself. And once we finish correcting, and if we have more confirmation in a lower time frame, I do like the chance that this is going to take off more. Okay, and someone told me about S&P 500, so Tesla is going to join S&P 500, right? So that's all good news for the company, of course, and likely the stock will continue. And we've been seeing the same trend over and over again already. So after this strong big move, this is just a larger, higher time frame correction. So very likely we can continue the push up this point forward. Okay, so that's Tesla. No question from my side. This couple of weeks market is just crazy. Well, yeah, likely because of the presidential election, likely to because of the vaccine, coronavirus. Things a little bit more scrambled. But this is my take on all this is that as a trader, as a consistent or long-term traders, you need to be able to function in any kind of market condition. Okay, so because every month, every year, things happen in this world, right? Like let's put it this way, things happen in the world, right? So to always hope for no storm no storm in the world is impossible, right? So you're gonna have to adapt to anything that's happening. So today this happened, next week that happens, this next month, 3 months later that happens. So how do we adjust? How do we prepare ourselves? How do we still function, still take trades, and still trying to execute them accordingly, so that you can be be financially related, make financially fun trading, right? So that is how my take on it, right? Because I've been through a lot of different random things in life in this trading career, right? You started with the Swiss collapse, you saw with Brexit, you have presidential election, you have all that, right? And even before that, 2008 financial crisis, right? All that. So it goes cycles and cycles, everything, right? Everything happens in a certain period, and then there will be a calm time, and then they're going to be back into the storm again. So be prepared for anything, and that's super important to um, be super important so that that will make you last longest in the trading career, right? You don't want to be trading for a couple months or 1 or 2 year and you're gone, right? And you want to be, if you want to be in the industry for a long time, then be prepared for anything that can happen, right? Just like this coronavirus when happens, I'm sure no one expect coronavirus to happen, but it happened anyways, right? So how to do as traders? How do we react to it, right? Sorry, Miss. Can you take a look at NQ1? Is it still consolidating? NQ1 like this? Is this what you're looking at? Or if you're still here, trusting hair 96067. I don't have this data, so I can't see this, by the way. I don't know if I'm looking at this correctly, but anyways, that is it, guys. So anything else, let me know. If not, ask me in Telegram, ask me questions in Telegram, I'll answer. And I will hopefully get to a weekly outlook next week, and then we'll go from there. All right. So thanks everyone for joining to this weekly. I mean, not weekly. Thanks everyone to join this New York market update, and I will see you guys all next time. All right. Thank you very much.